for the show. But okay, let's talk about global games, guys. We've been talking about global games maybe the last couple weeks, and it just seems like the drama just keeps going. But before we jump into the drama, the results finally came out for the teams, the national teams, and Zalae. I didn't see on there,
not
man.
quite.
I didn't see on
Yeah,
there.
I lost a bet to the Young Savage, man.
The
I had a
Young
bet going with
Savage
him over
got
which
you.
one of us. Like, obviously, Fire, Bat, and Dog are always getting the first two slots. And then he beat me. I think he managed to stream some that week, and I was traveling a lot, and I just didn't get any promotional work done really for myself. So it feels bad. He won. He got me.
He got you.
But pretty good team for NA.
Yeah,
I like their chances.
Super strong team. Yeah, I would say. It's hard to go through all these teams, guys. There's like a million teams, but I think it's going to be pretty competitive. I think overall, in the end, it's going to be a super competitive event. But go ahead and check that out.
I think it's USA versus Russia, right? Or, no, there's a few other teams. There's some European teams that are really good, from tiny countries.
I gotta dismiss like the rest of the world. Just like,
yeah,
all right,
I know. Look at all these countries.
A lot of these teams, I kind of do want to dismiss. Like when I looked at global games, it was hard not to be bitter because I see so many people that are like, I have never heard of this guy. And I worked pretty hard at Hearthstone. I get some pretty good results, and it's like, and I would love to get a chance to play. But at the same time, I realize it's kind of fair because, like, I'm from the U.S. I get a lot of opportunities to compete and stuff, and a lot of these guys haven't had a lot of opportunities. And so, like, there's real downsides to living in random country that's far away from where things are happening. And so, it's Blizzard kind of throwing them a bone. You get a chance to compete too. So it's fair. Like, I shouldn't be too bitter, I guess, but I don't know. I want to play.
Of course. The whole point is just to be more inclusive with everybody, right? And just have as many. I mean, they could have increased the team size maybe, but I don't know what they have in store for the format and all that good stuff. But so, leading up to this, there was a lot of, I guess some threats of if so-and-so is on the team, if Ponyhoff is on the team, then, I'll be stepping down. And we saw that basically with the German team. So originally, the German team did not look like this, okay? The German team actually had Ponyhoff and Synthilol as representatives for Germany.
And this team got so much better.
It improved a little bit.
Yeah,
wow.
It improved quite a bit. But leading up to it, so we had, Forsen sticking to his word. Forsen said that he would not compete, and he did step down from it. Little did he know that Ponyhoff would eliminate himself from all of this stuff, so he gave him the spot to show.
I'm not sure, man. I don't think they would
Forsen's
have
such a
done it.
genius.
I know.
I don't think they would have ever removed Ponyhoff, despite the little shenanigans,
Of course.
the little words that were exchanged. Had there not been such an uproar.
I think Forsen came off looking just so smart in this whole thing. Like he probably didn't really want to play in the tournament anyways. The amount of money he makes and the amount something like this is worth. Like he's like, is this really worth my time? And then he's like, wait a minute, I could just make everyone love me and like bash on Ponyhoff. It's just like the best PR move ever. And I mean that with just full respect and compliments to Forsen. I wish I had thought of such a great idea. Like, good job, man. Like, round of applause.
I think you're
10 out of 10.
You're probably right with that one.
I think it was a positive impact on the community, what he did. Like, I don't think it was entirely selfish. I think it was, I think he did a good thing for the community and himself. It was good for everyone. Just 2 thumbs up. Good job, man. So smart.
And Sho got the spot too. So, Sho being obviously a
Shows my
favorite
bro
for the community too. So he got to benefit from that. But just to give you a quick lowdown of what happened with the Ponyhoff and Synthilol thing, they had an exchange. Actually, one of them was a Twitter or not Twitter post. Was it a Discord post? I think it was actual Discord post, I believe. Which Ponyhoff was, ribbing Synthilol. Just I guess the comment was whether he had 2 dads versus his mom, or that whole comment. And then Synthilol on his stream, just on a video in a clip, of course, got spread everywhere. Was made some remarks that involved Hitler and things like that were definitely inappropriate, and that led to Blizzard removing them from the competition based on behavioral reasons. And so Noxious, you think that they wouldn't have removed them if it had the community wasn't, or at least some of the community wasn't.
No,
in
dude,
an uproar at all?
that stuff was not like they weren't. I'm sure they weren't monitoring
Noxious.
anything like remotely as close as they did after the uproar. After the uproar, they probably had like a media guy be like, "Oh, what are they saying? Can we find a reason to disqualify them?" And then I disqualified Ponyhuff, and they were like, "Yeah, here it is. This is the thing." They're like, "Well, shit, Scintilla also said something inappropriate. We have to throw him out too." So they pitched them both out and replaced them. That's exactly what happened.
Yeah, I totally agree. Yeah, Scintilla would have been fine, and so would Ponyhuff if it weren't for the points that people raised about Ponyhuff's past. Scintilla kind of got screwed by the whole Ponyhuff thing happening, but he did say the words himself, and they were offensive, and so it's a nice reminder to people out there that. When you're being recorded, it matters what you say, right?
Yeah, or just
anything and all you say can be held against you, right?
In
the court of law,
or
in the Blizzard, Global Games.
Exactly. So, it's unfortunate for that, or at least people in that situation. But the folks that did benefit were Super JJ and is it Camlan? Is that how you pronounce that? C4?
No, I think was it Life Coach? I don't think Life Coach.
Oh, was it Life Coach?
Maybe I might be misremembering.
Oh,
Life Coach is being Life Coach and
I thought Life Coach made was
no,
in.
No, he wasn't in there. I don't think.
Oh, okay. So it was Life Coach and Super JJ. Okay, I didn't realize it was both of them. Okay,
it's basically the Gwench boys. The Gwench boys.
The Gwench boys.
But I feel like this was a win for the Hearthstone community as a whole. It was like people took a stand for something, and we found an excuse to get what we wanted. Well, I'll take it. That's a victory.
You'll take it. Oh man. Okay. All right. Okay, but I think definitely the moral of the story here is, at least don't rage, or at least don't rage on video. But in general, like getting mad over shit like that, I don't. There's consequences for that at times, so it's not worth it many times. Because that video, man, he was so upset. He was upset at something about practicing. I think first, like I think maybe Sentinel, like in that video.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it was. Maybe I think it had to do with Pony and maybe him saying that they didn't want to practice as a group or something like that. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if it was directed at Pony or not, but it kind of led to him just going into a crazy rage frenzy over what Pony said. So, just chill out, guys. Life's sometimes it's just better off not to say anything, right? Than to potentially put yourself in a situation where you get removed from an awesome event. This event what's the prize pool on this event? Do you guys know?
No idea.
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I haven't really looked into it.
Right? It's gotta be.
You gotta imagine there's some money behind it. Like it's a Blizzard thing.
It's gotta be.
And even without the money, it's something you want to do. It's
represent
cool.
Your country. Yeah. Who knew you could represent your country? Like represent your country playing Hearthstone in that fashion. That's really, really cool. Okay, Q&A, guys. Let's see any questions you guys have this week. We've got 3 questions, which is cool. Some from a week ago that we didn't quite get to. So Shiza Deezer asks, what have been the least skillful aggro decks of all times? What have been the most skillful decks of all time?
Aggro Shaman of the, recently was one of the most skillful decks of all time, I think.
Yeah, most skillful.
Okay.
We're not kidding.
Okay.
Most skillful aggro decks of all time. Aggro Shaman of recent memory.
Okay, yeah, I'll give you that.
I agree with that.
And I want to say Pyro Warrior is one of the least skillful.
Yep. On the flip side, same have the most brain dead deck ever created. And by the way, that deck was also completely skill-less back before Nax. That deck existed in its near entirety before Belcher. It was still a brain dead deck to pilot, and almost. And it hasn't really changed much. So
it's pretty close. Yeah, I think you guys are right. I think Death Rattle Hunter was pretty bad too, or pretty.
Yeah, the Undertaker
too.
was.
Yeah, that's pretty brainless too.
Once you figure out the mulligan for Undertaker, the rest kind of took care of itself.
Yeah, it's really tough. It's really tough pushing hero power too. Pretty much.
Well, actually, a lot of people actually messed up the hero power ring in Hunter more than I think people messed up the hero power ring in Hunter aggro back then more than they mess up Pirate Warrior to face nowadays. When you see people jamming weapons to face without trading on turn 2 and you have a 2-drop nowadays and they still win. Hunter Taker didn't have the luxury of missing damage against Control Warrior in some cases, so there were still. I'd argue that it was more difficult to play, even though the edge was not crazy.
Yeah.
I'd say Zoo generally tends to be one of the harder aggro decks to play. There's just a lot of decisions. I think kind of what makes the difference between an aggro deck being harder to play versus easier is whether it can change roles. Pirate Warrior is like almost always the aggressor, and therefore it's fairly straightforward to play. There's a lot of going face, not a whole lot too much more going on than that. People still mess it up though routinely. Even legend level players routinely mess up with Pirate Warrior. So even though we're calling it a low skill deck, I think there's more skill to it than people realize for sure. But and then a deck like Aggro Shaman, the reason it's a higher skill deck and harder to play is because the different matchups are more different. You're not just the aggro in every matchup. For instance, when you play Aggro Shaman against Pirate Warrior, all of a sudden you're a control deck, and your game plan is to try and get 4 totems in place. You can roll a taunt totem every turn and that kind of thing. And all of a sudden, you're happy to Lava Burst their Frothing Berserker, even though you're paying a 5-mana card that's supposed to go face to kill a 3-mana minion. You're fully blind by a full Innervate. Like, it's a huge deal, right? That's awful. But actually, that's contributing to your game plan very efficiently. That's a thing you do all the time and don't even feel bad about it.
Yeah, that's true. There's not that many to choose from, to be honest. But definitely the most recent Shaman. I think your point about switching roles is great. Backspace Rogue? Backspace Rogue was...
Aggro Rogue?
Yeah.
That one is tough to... Well, it was tough to play.
But it's only one role, though. I mean, you are just going, just full speed ahead. And
well, if you've played... Have you played Water Rogue? Like the recent list with the coin version with double counterfeit coin and Edwin. So there's like 2 ways to build Water Rogue. And I feel like the one that runs... double counterfeit coin is reminiscent in some fashion of the old Backspace. The only difference is without cold oracles, it's not Backspace Rogue. You just can't afford to give a lot of decks card draw nowadays. You die to aggro if you give that to them, and you can't give it to Reno clearly because
still probably easier than Shaman. Yeah, Shaman was.
I know. I say the Water Rogue is tough. It's really tough compared to like something like Warrior, and I think it falls on the equal spectrum for Shaman.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I do want to say I'm sorry, just one last thing. The old Face Hunter was actually pretty hard to play, even though it was like always the beatdown in every matchup. Just the old like Mad Scientist, Explosive Trap, Unleash the Hounds. Just the whole like planning out your resources to have the right amount of damage on the right turn to finish them off before they finish you off. There was a lot of math, a lot of racing. It was a pretty tricky deck to play, even though it's always the beatdown. You're never control with that deck.
Yeah, aggro decks generally, I think a lot of folks don't realize is very unforgiving. You can't make mistakes. You make a mistake, it's over. Or you don't get many options because there's no removing. You're going to have to win in an extra turn, and a lot of these aggro decks are not made to have an extra turn to win. Jason R. asks, who should the first Hearthstone hero be in Heroes of the Storm? For example, Don Honcho, Kazak is somebody Hearthstone has added that doesn't exist in WoW until it was in Hearthstone first.
Patches.
Probably Reno, right? I think
Reno. No. It's got to be Patches, bro. And he's got to be like a baller assassin that summons more passion.
God. He's got the charge ability, right?
Yeah,
he definitely got the charge ability.
Yeah, he charges to you, and when you ult, he just goes, "I'm in charge now," and just summons like 7 copies of Small Time Buccaneer and like jam.
Okay. All right. There's not many to choose from. Like, it's a League of Explorer cast, and it could be the Karazhan cast. Barnes and
honestly,
there's not exciting.
Emperor Thorson could be cool.
Okay.
But he wasn't WoW though. I'll say that much. He was the thing.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. Probably one of those.
I guess Reno's not a bad idea. Finley isn't.
Reno could have a whip, maybe, right, or something like that.
Didn't they make a Hearthstone character in there?
Yeah, Finley, Sir Finley Merkleton is.
Yeah, Finley is in there, right? I'm not crazy.
Yeah, Sir Finley.
Okay.
Sir Finley's not a WoW character.
No, he's not.
Yeah.
You could make Sir Finley.
Yeah. One of those. I mean, the only problem with the Heroes of the Storm is you have to figure out abilities for these characters. So a lot of stuff from Karazhan probably wouldn't fit. It's just not very thematically combatant, I guess you could say. So it'd be something from League of Explorers. Okay, Stuart P asks, what now that we're at a week or less from the big release, obviously this is during the week, what deck archetypes are you guys going to try? Basically, most excited for and going to try. It says he's excited about the Hunter cards and to try out the Hunter and the Priest, and excited to try Raptor Hunter and Undead Control Priest. Okay, interesting.
I don't know what those are.
Yeah, I'm not even sure what. I mean, Raptor Hunter's obvious, but I'm not sure what undead control priest. Maybe that's like Bishop and
Death Rattle. I think that's what it is. Death Rattle, Onyx Bishop.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I guess what decks are you guys going to try out on day one, and then what decks do you think will be oppressive if you were just to make a bold prediction?
Well, my prediction for oppressive would be Zoo, I guess.
Somebody's phone's ringing.
Yeah, that's me. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And I want to try out Secret Mage. I kind of doubt that it's that good, but I don't know. Nobody's talking about it, and it looks pretty interesting to me with Arcanologist coming out. So I want to see what's up.
Okay.
Buff Paladin is my choice. Buff Pally and quest like the Rogue quest. Those are the decks I'm looking forward to the most. Top tier decks, certainly not what I don't anticipate them to be. But I still want to try them out. As far as top tier decks, I think Zoo is going to be there. Without a Druid Drake, I'm not sure how Druid catches up on card draw. Like the more I think about that class, like Jade Druid is fine, but it's missing out like that crazy swipe removal that sometimes carried it into the mid game with Drake. So
yeah. For me, the first day, I think I'll probably run the Rogue at some point for sure, just because I'm just curious about that and just how powerful some of the balancing will be. And the interesting part about the quest, you can just finish the quest by playing 4 2-ofs, or just X 2-ofs, right, and complete it that way. Everybody's always thinking about obviously balancing and doing it super super fast, but you can actually naturally do it too, which is an interesting way of looking at it. So I'll probably do that, and then probably try out the Freeze Mage Giant thing just to see if it's as powerful as I think it's going to be. Oppressive wise, I don't know. What do you guys think will be oppressive? I think it's possible.
So hard to say, right?
Yeah, oppressive is a really big word. Yeah. Like we've had oppressive decks in the past, and I don't know that I would call any deck that we see coming up oppressive. But every quest has the potential to create an oppressive archetype, assuming it's too easy to complete and too consistent. That's just the way we'll put it. If one quest is just way above power level, that quest becomes potentially oppressive as an archetype. So
I think oppressive decks too, like the one that we saw most recently, like with Shaman, it's a deck that does well against every type of archetype, and it has a chance at winning even against the worst archetype, and that's very very hard to come by. The quest, in fact, any kind of quest deck, I don't think it's possible. Like the quests are designed to be potentially later and things like that. So maybe it's not possible. Anything's possible. So, but generally speaking, I think the design in which they created this, it's not made to be good against everything. Like Pirate Warrior is there to it has to exist, right? Just to keep some things in place, and that's not going anywhere. I mean, that's always going to be around. So it's hard for me to see that happening again. Which is good because it sucked whenever it happened.
I'm hoping so, yeah.
Yeah.
And there was a discussion recently with Reyna. We're saying, what deck do you think is going to be oppressive? Jade Druid with Tar Creepers, rip. It's just here's Jade Druid, here's the defensive.
Yeah, I think that's going to be strong.
Here's me. It's like
I think that's going to be strong. But there's so many tempo decks that are available that even with the Tar Creeper, I think that there's enough tempo and burst to kill a Jade Druid. And not have Jade Druid win like crazy amounts of a large percent of the time against those type of decks. So hoping that's not the only change that they need to be able to become super strong like that. But Tar Creeper is something that I would add to Jade Druid for sure. Okay, guys. Well, that's a good episode, man. We almost went 2 hours there, which is pretty crazy. But there's a lot to talk about. Exciting day tomorrow. But Zalae, awesome having you back, buddy. It's always fun.
Thanks for having me. I love this show.
Yeah. You want to do any shout outs? Where can people find you?
At LG Zalae on Twitter. Oh, I have a new YouTube. So if you go to my Twitch channel and type !YouTube in the chat, it'll make a link to the YouTube channel. I don't think there's an easy to say name for it. I don't know.
Boy, what is it?
UWXZYYSAA5.
Go to twitch.tv/ZalaeHS, type !YouTube in the chat, and click that link, and you're good to go.
Okay. Cool. Yeah, definitely check that out. So you're making videos regularly, or you just got like an editor now to help you out with some?
I got an editor working on stuff. from my stream, basically.
Cool.
It's kind of like the best parts of my stream is the gist of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's
good stuff.
So awesome. Noxious, how about you?
Noxious GLHF on YouTube and Noxious_GG on Twitch. I've been actually streaming and having quite a bit of fun, honestly. Like, Wild is surprisingly enjoyable. If you don't care about your win rate, honestly, like just play whatever meme. Because honestly, Standard is not enjoyable even if you don't care about your win rate, because you don't find diversity. Like, there's nothing. It's always the same damn 2 decks. So at least when you go to Wild, you can play that Mill Rogue and lose to 3 different things. But they're different. That's good.
It's definitely good.
Okay.
And I'll round things out by thanking the 2 of you guys for obviously doing the show. One last disclaimer, since it's the last day. If you like Dragon Priest, you better play the hell out of it in the next few hours, because it is going to be gone in the next few hours. So I just want to let the Priest players out there know. And if you missed any of the show, you can check it out on youtube.com/ChanManV in another hour or 2. All our past episodes, we've done 16 now of them. You can check out there too. They're all available there. And if you're an iTunes listener or you like to listen on audio on the way to work, anything like that, we're available on iTunes. If you search for Value Town or if you search for Hearthstone, you'll find us, as well as Google Podcasts and SoundCloud. So got all those bases covered too. You can follow the show's Twitter account at ValueTownGG and follow all of our Twitters too. They're all in the overlays here. And again, thanks to all our patrons. You guys are awesome supporting the show, and we wouldn't be able to do this without you guys. But for this week, that's going to be it. So for Zalae, Noxious, and myself, ChanManV,